number of years ago. I'm a lawyer. I'm in Superior Court of Guilford County, and I'm sitting there waiting for my guy to come up. And they brought this dog into the courtroom up in front. And I watched the case, and it was Susie, the dog that had been burned in a park in Guilford County. Judge Hassel, Robbie Hassel's on the bench, and I'm waiting for him to rule. And he realizes that he does not have the authority to put the guy that burned Susie in jail. Well, I was in my second term in the state senate, and I said, I can make a difference in this for Susie and other animals around. I went back and wrote a bill in North Carolina to make those that intentionally hurt animals, not just accidentally, but intentionally hurt animals, available for jail time. So I go back to the Senate, and it is the short session of North Carolina General Assembly that new matters cannot be brought up. But I introduced a bill. I was vice chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and decided to try to do a bill in the short session. Now, my folk were in control, and we did a bill. I took it to the Senate floor, and we passed 48-0 that if you intentionally harm a pet, an animal, not a chicken or a cow or something, but a domestic animal, that you are eligible for prison. Now, the good news is I had thousands of folk that were on Susie's website. Folk had done really good on her case, and I had in the Senate chamber and others a number of Susie's followers. Susie ended up doing a great thing. We passed the bill in the Senate. We passed it over the House, and I had my first hearing over there. Susie came in, went into the legislative building, and had Susie's T-shirts written over hundreds of people. We packed the House committee meeting. Susie made the front page of the Raleigh News and Observer, lying down, showing her scars that had been there. We ran the bill. We ended up getting support even in the short session of the General Assembly from the House. The House ended up going to Governor Beverly Perdue, and she signed the bill. And the bill says if you intentionally hurt a pet, an animal, not accidentally, not just an occurrence, that you would be eligible for prison if the judge decides you did. So we did that. The bill passed, and I went to the governor, and the governor said, let's do the signing ceremony over at the governor's mansion. So we all planned this. We all take Susie over to the Rose Garden in the governor's mansion and have Susie put her paw print on the bill that was signed by the governor. So we had a heck of a time. So was this an easy journey for Susie's law to get through the legislature? No, because the pork people, the chicken people have a strong lobby. They did not want anything to be able to affect their business. And I understood that. So we made it a bill that was a pet, somebody that owns an animal that's not for production. And that was able to appease them. Then I had trouble with the hunting dog people, and they were worried that this bill might affect them. Well, damned if I didn't own Remington, not just a national champion, but a grand national champion. And I assured them that we were not intended to have any effect on them. They use training aids and other things and do that. So we cut them out of the bill. And so we had obstacles all the way. We had the time crunch of the short session of the General Assembly. We had the pork people. We had the chicken people. But I was able to weave the bill through, so we got what's passed today. So over 50 counties in North Carolina have now used Susie's law to punish people and put them in jail that intentionally abuse animals. Are we there yet? No. The next session, I tried a bill on those that chain animals and leave them out and don't provide a home for them. Got immense opposition, and there were other folk that didn't want us to do the bill. I was just able in that period of time to get Susie's law through, and it has been used by prosecutors across the state to punish those that intentionally abuse animals. So what's left to be done? Susie's law was just a bill, one point in time on those that intentionally abuse animals. There is much left to be done. Puppy mills are rampant through North Carolina. The various different breeds of animals end up having a problem in North Carolina. So we have a lot left to be done. Chaining of animals needs to be done. And you can do this on the local level in the county, or you can do it on the state level. It is better to do it at the state level and make it a statewide bill. The problem is there's not enough folk out there that understand this that would help out in the General Assembly to be able to get this bill through. Now, we're in the short session of the General Assembly now. The long session will be next year, and a bill will be hopefully introduced that helps do these other things. Every animal ought to have a house. They ought to be warm at night. They ought to not be chained and left out. But if you drive through rural parts of North Carolina, you can see that all the time. This needs to be fixed. What needs to be fixed in the General Assembly is a statewide bill that takes care of domestic animals. Now, the legislature is king. The governor cannot put forth this kind of law. The legislature has to do it to make law in North Carolina, and we ought to have bills that protect pets in North Carolina. Many states have this. We don't have it in North Carolina. So I would like to call on the people of North Carolina to rise up with regard to their pets and lobby the North Carolina General Assembly.